On today's Toy Spot, we're going to be having a look at the Marvel Universe Minimates Spire Man Friends and Foes box set. This set actually has 4 Spider-Man Minimates. Features the battle-ravaged Spider-Man, features Black Cat, Doc Ock, and Vulture. On the side, pictures of all 4 Minimates. And on the back, all 4 as well. The read-ups on all 4 Minimates. Battle-ravaged Spider-Man says, whether fighting the rampaging Rhino or battling the relentless Morlun, Spider-Man has always had more than his fair share of knuckle sandwiches. Sandwiches. Explaining the bruises, broken bones, and scrapes, however, is much more difficult. Black Cat, Felicia Hardy dons the Black Cat costume and slinks along the New York skyline as a private eye now that she's attempting to give up her thieving ways. With her bad luck powers returned, though, it won't be an easy task. Doc Ock, Otto Octavius invented his famous mechanical harness to safely handle chemicals, yet became permanently fused with the device after a radiation leak, creating one of Spider-Man's most dangerous foes, Dr. Octopus. Finally, Vulture, when Adrian Toome's business partner bankrupted their company, the enraged scientist invented a high-tech wing apparatus which allowed him to take the supervillain career to the skies as the Deadly Vulture. Brought to you by Art Asylum. So that's packaging on the Fiercest Foes. Is this a set worth picking up? Stay tuned, guys. What we'll do is we'll open this up and we'll have a look at the 4 Minimates. Stay tuned. And as a correction as to what I said in the package end, it's not Fiercest Foes, it's Friends and Foes. Must have Fiercest Foes on the brain. Okay, let's have a look at the Minimates here. All 4 of them. We'll start first with one of the cooler of the 4, and unfortunately a bit of the more frustrating of the 4 as well. We'll look at Dr. Otto Octavius. And he is a nice Minimate. If the camera wants to focus here, we'll just wipe it off a bit. There we go. I really like Dr. Octopus here, but my one problem is these blasted tentacles. What ends up happening, as with most other Minimates, is that you, if there's an extension, usually you have to plug them in the back. Well, unfortunately, these pegs. Is the camera wanting to focus on this one? Unfortunately, with these pegs, you have to plug them in, but they do not want to stay. They don't want to stay. They just keep falling out. And when you start having already problems where you want to get the tentacles in and they're falling out, it doesn't make for a very good Minimate right off the bat. They've actually done something interesting as well, is that I thought this was going to be a wire. It is actually not a wire. It's actually 2 pieces. There's a piece that plugs in the back, and then there's also a secondary piece, and the secondary piece allows you to rotate the half of the arm, you know, in whatever position you want, but it's actually not a wire. It's just a piece of plastic, which is almost surprising, because usually whenever they do a Doc Ock figure, usually they always do like a little pipe cleaner arm. I mean, that's always a given. Doc Ock relies on the larger fat suit that they've applied over a Minimate body. It works because Doc Ock is a little heftier than most villains. He's of course sporting his Doc Ock hairstyle. Classic. I like the Doc Ock. I like him. It's a shame that the tentacles are a little more frustrating on Doc Ock here. I might be inclined to just probably glue the tentacles. I mean, if I probably have no intention of having tentacles off him anyways, so I probably will just glue those tentacles into his back and be done with it, because they don't really want to stay on their own. I like Doc Ock, he's good. Tentacles are a bit of a pain in the you-know-where, but I'm going to give him a 7. He's a really nice looking figure. Put him down. We'll have a look at Black Cat. The Black Cat is nice. The choice of color is a little weird on the face. It's a dingier kind of skin color, but then they've really gone out and they've given us this weird skin color on the chest area. It looks weird. Very, very pale and very dingy. But that aside, though, the Black Cat is very nice. Camera doesn't want to focus here. One thing that's interesting too is one of the only few Minimates that actually have sculpted hands. It's not just the standard claw hand that we're used to seeing on most Minimates. This one actually is more like a claw hand. Focus. Of course, you can take the hair off, which serves no purpose unless I guess you could kind of use her for a Harlequin if you really wanted to, if you, say, lost the Harlequin head that came with the original Minimate. Her articulation, standard with all the other Minimates. She has the ball-jointed head, ball-jointed shoulders. You can bend at the elbows. You rotate the hand. You rotate the waist. You bend the legs back and forth in and out. Bend the knees, and you can rotate the feet. They've also thrown in the white fur that's on her arms as well as the legs. Despite this coloring, the coloring is off. I don't know why they dropped the ball there, but aside from that, I like the Black Cat. I'm gonna give her maybe a 5. Moving along, we've got ourselves Vulture. And Vulture sporting his classic suit, the green, the lighter kind of yellowy green colored wings. I mean, it's not much to say about Vulture. You either like him or you don't like him. I like him, so he's neat. Again, standard articulation for Minimate, nothing different about him. The face. Is it gonna? I don't know why the zoom doesn't seem to want to work today. There we go. I like the face on Vulture. It's a decent face. Of course, he doesn't have any hair, and interesting that I guess with most bald Minimates they do this. I don't have a lot of bald Minimates, but they've covered over the plug or the hole where you could actually peg hair into. They've actually taken that out, which makes sense because you don't want to see a big hole in his head the whole time. But I like Vulture. I like him. I think he's a little nicer, I think, than Black Cat, just because Black Cat, I don't know, they're about the same, I think. I just wish her skin color was a little bit better. The Vulture, I'm gonna give a 6 to. And finally, moving into the more disappointing part of the set, we have ourselves Spire Man. I'm usually on the fence when it comes to battle-ravaged Spider-Men, because they can either look somewhat decent or they can look like just a mess. And unfortunately, I think Spider-Man here, the Minimate, leans a little more to the side of he just looks like a bit of a mess. They just gave him, I think almost they gave him too much battle damage. I do like the fact that you can see his web shooters. They've had the this sleeve completely ripped off, that you can see the web shooters underneath. I like that. I think that's neat. But he is definitely not one of my favorite Spider-Man Minimates. He has 2 accessories, and the accessories are he has a web that you can actually hook into itself and kind of create like a web lasso that you can have, roped around a villain, or I guess in Spider-Man's case, maybe he'd want to rope it around Black Cat because she's hot. It pegs into his hand. So if you want to have cowboy Spider-Man, you can do that too. The other accessory he comes with, which is neat, and I really like this, and it can either go in either hand, is that he has this. You're thinking to yourself, what is that? Is it a tongue? What is that? The idea is you can take out one of his hands, and you can plug this into the hole. There we go. And what you've got is Spider-Man palming. You can see him shooting out a web hook, or a web kind of claw. Again, you can peg around stuff. Although it's a bit small, I guess you can plug it in around a hand or an arm or a leg. If he wants to grab her leg. I think that's kind of neat, though. Really cool idea on maybe a somewhat disappointing Spider-Man. He's definitely not my favorite Spider-Man of the Spider-Man Minimates that I have, but he's not bad nonetheless. I'm going to give him maybe, I don't know, maybe a 4. He's not the reason to get this set. I think if you had to get a reason to get this set, even though I don't like the fact that the tentacles are a little messed up on him and they want to keep falling out, I think the real draw to this set is probably the Doc Ock. And, even the Black Cat and the Vulture are great additions. The Spider-Man is probably just a pass, and maybe they could have put a better Spider-Man in. This set is available, I think, currently at Toys R Us and probably most specialty comic stores. Worth getting. If you like Minimates, it's worth getting to get a really nice Doc Ock, and the other 2 are good as well. Spider-Man, not so much. But today's toy spot, we were looking at the Spider-Man, the Friends and Foes set. And I'll wrap this up here. Stay tuned for many more toy spots and other spots to come. And I'll see you guys next time. Later.